Got some breaking news. The Financial Times reporting that President Biden had made a phone call to President Xi Jinping of China last week asking for a face-to-face summit. China is not answering the phone call. Joining us now, New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis from House Foreign Affairs. Congresswoman, this is serious stuff. China appears to be ignoring the White House demands for a summit. Your reaction to this?
Well, I'm not sure that Beijing has much respect for the president, and that is definitely a problem. First, you saw them unleash a virus in the world, and the president refuses to hold them accountable, to demand the origins be fully and thoroughly investigated to determine that it came from the Wuhan lab. Then he re-enters the Paris Accord, which gives China and India an upper hand and doesn't require them to be in a level playing field as America. Now they've been watching everything that's happened in Afghanistan, this hasty, disastrous withdrawal. And I'm sure they're thinking about taking steps with regards to Taiwan and Hong Kong. That's what their priority is right now. And unfortunately, the president has put them in a situation where they have a position of strength.
And China, reports are coming in that China wanted to use the Bagram Air Base that Republicans were saying to the Secretary of State in the White House, this is an epic historical failure that you abandoned and surrendered Bagram Air Base. It could have protected Americans and U.S. allies trying to flee, but you gave it up. China may use Bagram Air Base as a hub for its Belt and Road Initiative. China is denying that. So China's moving into Afghanistan. So is Iran and Russia. So your reaction to all of that news?
Well, China's moving in everywhere, and that's really what the problem is. Even very close to our homeland here, 90 miles away in Cuba, you see what they're doing in South America. And Afghanistan is the latest thing. And, that's the thing. When Secretary Blinken says that they have leverage against the Taliban, I don't know what leverage he's talking about, quite frankly, because if it's monetary leverage, China's going to fill in the void. And so, this is something that should be very much concerning, and this is all of President Biden's doing.
Congresswoman, you grilled the Secretary of State. We had Representative Michael McCall of your committee, House Foreign Affairs, who's a ranking Republican. He brought up this issue. He asked Secretary of State Blinken whether Russia's leader, Vladimir Putin, threatened President Biden. Blinken didn't answer the question. Let's watch this.
And my last question is it true that President Putin threatened the President of the United States, saying he could not build intelligence capabilities in the region?
This is an important question, and one that in its detail and substance I think we need to take up in another setting.
Okay, so when you see him not answering, Congresswoman, does that tell you that, yeah, that happened?
Well, yeah, some of it is classified and you can't say it publicly, and other he may not even know. I mean, look, yesterday myself, I asked the Secretary about terrorism and what kind of counterterrorism measures are they going to be taking now that we have nobody on the ground. And I asked straight out about the likelihood of al-Qaeda reemerging and also what the Taliban has told them about ISIS-K. He literally stood there at this hearing and said that the Taliban said that they're not going to allow Afghanistan to be a base for terrorism. But the Taliban is a terrorist organization itself, as is ISIS-K, as is the Haqqani network. And Haqqani, as you know, is serving in the cabinet of this Taliban government. And so the reality is that we have a lot of questions than we received answers to yesterday. And then today you saw what happened with the CIA and the DIA both saying that indeed al-Qaeda can emerge and do something to the United States of America and our homeland within 1 to 2 years. So did the Secretary not know this? Or was he lying straight out at this hearing to me yesterday?
That's an important point you just made, that the CIA and there's intelligence officials warning that al-Qaeda could attack the U.S. within a year or 2 years' time. Let's move to this, and that's serious stuff. So we want to stay on that story with you in light of this. Representative Ronnie Jackson saying to Antony Blinken, you were vacationing in the Hamptons. The White House was on vacation when Kabul fell and American citizens and allies were abandoned. Watch this.
The family remained hidden and terrified for 12 long days until my team and a group of brave patriots on the ground facilitated their evacuation. During this time, the State Department did nothing to help this family. Instead, you directed them to go to the Taliban checkpoints repeatedly, where the mother eventually had a pistol placed to her head, and then told them to stay in their homes as the Taliban went door to door searching for American citizens and Afghan allies. All while you were vacationing in the Hamptons and your diplomats were safe in Doha. Then miraculously, after their safe arrival, the State Department jumped in to claim full responsibility for what had happened.
Your final word, Congresswoman?
The reality is many members of Congress had that experience where they were trying to evacuate citizens, including myself. The State Department did help me with one family, but others we had to go to other sources to try to get these individuals out and back to the United States of America. The State Department clearly is not coordinating very well, not only with members of Congress, but I think with other agencies. And this is just another example of how the withdrawal has been botched, and how this president continues to make bad foreign policy decision after another.
Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you.